Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, ma'am. Our assigned topic is the chapter 16, the conclusion. So there are four. So first, the function of the conclusion. Second, the two methods of approach. Third, the elements of conviction, the summaries, and amplify and diminish. Last is the elements of persuasion. So first, the function of conclusion. In the introduction, the debater states a claim and makes a promise. In the discussion, this claim is established by competent evidence, proof, and argument. In the conclusion, the debater reminds the audience that in the discussion, he has established his claim and redeemed his promise. So in a debate or argument, the conclusion has a specific job. Earlier in the introduction, the debater makes a claim and promises to prove it. In the discussion section, they provide evidence and arguments to support that claim. The conclusion, therefore, is the part where the debater reminds the audience that the claim has already been proven. It shows that the debater has fulfilled the promise made in the introduction. The function of the conclusion, therefore, is to bind together the various proofs and arguments as a unit of force to impress them forcibly in the minds of the audience, and to stir the favorable emotions of the hearers or readers to the highest pitch so that they may act as the arguer desires them to act. So the conclusion serves to unite all the arguments and evidence into one strong final message. Its purpose is to make the audience clearly remember and feel convinced by the points presented. A good conclusion also tries to stir positive emotions in the audience so they will be encouraged to agree with the debater and support the action or idea being argued. Aristotle gave the fourfold function of the conclusion as follows. First, to conciliate the audience in favor of the speaker and to recite them against his adversary, or emotional appeal. Second, to amplify and diminish, or intellectual appeal. Third is to rouse the emotions, or emotional appeal. And last, to recapitulate, or intellectual appeal. So second, the two methods of approach. As in other part of the argument speech, in the conclusion, the appeal is both the intellect and the emotions. The intellectual appeal is designed to create belief on the part of the audience either in the truth or in the falsity of the proposition, or in its wisdom or unwisdom, or in its expediency or inexpediency. Through a clear and logical presentation of the fundamental arguments bound together by the principles of unity and coherence, and the emotions appeal consists in stirring the favorable emotions of the audience either towards the speaker or towards his cause or towards both the speaker and his cause. So the conclusion of an argumentative speech should use both intellectual and emotional appeals. The intellectual appeal convinces the audience through clear, logical reasoning that shows why the speaker's claim is true, wise, or beneficial. Meanwhile, the emotional appeal aims to stir positive feelings such as trust, sympathy, or support toward the speaker or the cause. By combining logic and emotions, the conclusion becomes more persuasive and leaves a stronger impact on the audience. So thank you and God bless.
So good day everyone, especially to you ma'am. This is my assigned topic, the elements of conviction. So the elements of conviction in the conclusion are found largely in the summary or recapitulation and in the work of amplifying and diminishing. The first is to make clear the proof, and the second is to demonstrate the contrast of the case as advocated by the opponent and that as advocated by the speaker. The contrast being in favor of the speaker making use of the conclusion. So the summaries. There are three types of summaries. They are the formal, the informal, and the largely persuasive. So first, the formal summary. The formal summary is one that is brief and terse. It is characterized by conventional expression such as first, second, third, and etc. Next is the informal summary. The informal summary is one that is less abstract and less brief and terse than the formal summary. In the informal summary, the conventional words first, second, third, and etc. are not used. Next is the largely persuasive summary. The largely persuasive summary is one that does not marshal the arguments in a conventional manner. Rather, it presents the arguments which, while directed largely to the intellect, are pervaded by an appeal to the emotions. It is for this reason that this type of summary is not purely an intellectual approach. So, B is amplify and diminish. This is a device used in the conclusion whereby the debater hides the weakness of his minor arguments and presents in the bold relief his stronger points. Generally, however, it is employed to demonstrate the weakness of the case of the opponent and to magnify the case of the speaker. So amplify and diminish is also called balanced summary. That's all ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening ma'am, good evening classmates. And continuation is just a report ni the basol, the element of persuasions. Persuasions include the speaker's personal attitude and bearing, which aims to make the audience favorably disposed toward the speaker, their cause or both the adversary and their cause. Ang elements of persuasions ang pagkumbinsi og naglakip sa pamatasan o kinaiya sa nagsulti. Tumong niini nga malipay o mapabor ang mga maminaw magsulti sa iyang mensahe o bisan sa kontra og ilang baranggan. And the passage is a warning by Carlo M. Ricto against the potential future where the Philippines, by aligning itself with stronger nations and putting its liberties on the occasions, blacks could face catastrophic destructions and ultimately forget its national identity and ideals. He cautions that future generations might see their ancestors as a sacrificial race, with a mysterious urge to suicide for making on others' quarrels. The quotes emphasize the importance of maintaining an independent course and national sovereignty to avoid devastating and the loss of memory of what it meant to be a free people. Claro M. Recto gave a really serious warning to the Philippines. He said that if our countries align too much with stronger nations o gibaligya ang atong kalayaan parang naa sa accusations, we could face total destructions ug mawala ang nagyud ang atong national identity ug mga ideals. He even imagined future generations looking back to us a sacrificial race with a mysterious urge to suicide, all because we got into other people's quarrels. At the end of the day, the whole point is this: keeping our independence ug national sovereignty is super important para malikayan ang grabe nga kahimtang ug para dili nila makalimtan kung unsa ang kahibalo nga magbinuang og malaya. Third is Carlos P. Romualdez. Perorations are Secretary of Foreign Affairs for the defend the foreign policy of the Republic. Romualdez argued forcefully against the assumptions that the Filipino people desires for freedom had been settled by the need for safety. He stated that such a foreign policy would be inconsistent with the nation's histories, characters, and traditions. The Filipino people, through flaming actions rather than more rhetoric, have demonstrated their commitment to liberty. Romulo concluded that if forced to make one ultimate choice, Filipinos would bravely join the legions of the region of the free. Carlos P. Romualdez's powerful perorations during his time as Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and where he firstly defended the Republic's foreign policy, he argued strongly against the assumptions that of the Filipino people's desire to freedom had been suppressed just because we need safety. O giingon gyud niya nga ang patakaran will be completely inconsistent with our nation's history, character, and traditions. The Filipino, he said, have shown their commitment to liberty through flaming actions, real involved movies, imbis na lang empty rhetoric. In the end, Romulus concluded that if we forced to make an ultimate choice, the Filipino people will bravely join the legions of the three. President Elpidio Quironios' address called for Filipinos to abandon partisanship, achieve economic solidarity, and unite to ensure the new country enduring happiness after President Roosevelt signed the Constitution. The President Elpidio Quironios strongly argued Filipinos to set aside partisanship, mga away sa politiko, build economic solidarity, and unite as the one of nations. All of this was to make sure our new country will have lasting happiness, ug tanan niini nahitabo right after President Roosevelt signed our constitutions. And the last one is Abraham Lincoln. Seconds argue Americans to act with malice toward none, with charity for all, to heal the nation's wounds and achieve as a just reunification. Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address had his really powerful message for Americans. Iyang giingon na kinahanglan silang maglihok with malice toward none, with charity for all. Now that the Civil War was ending, ang tanan niini kay para pag-ayos sa mga samad sa nasod, mga samad nga labi sa kalalim, ug para makabot og taas nga malinawon na magkahiusa. Ihatagan niya og importansya ang pagpatawid imbis na pagdumot aron malambo ang usa ka mas kusog ug mas makatarungan na bansa. And muna to. Salamat.